Hey YouTube, it's Ali here, and the goal of today's video is basically just to show you how to remove a watermark. Now, there's a lot of videos out there about how to remove a watermark, but they're mostly in specific cases, like when there's like the tiled pattern underneath or something like that. So rather than show you in a specific instance, I'm going to show you some techniques you can use to get rid of a watermark. So first, how does a watermark work on an image? So basically what they're doing is they're just putting text, like they're just literally taking text and just whatever they want to put on there. And what they're doing is when they save the image, it's compressed down onto the original image. The only reason that I have to explain that is because when they say that you're removing a watermark, you're not really deleting the layer, right? What you're doing is you're using techniques to artificially cover up what's already there. So it's just a technique of pretending that something's there that is not, but you're not actually removing the text. So this text will always be there, but you can mask it. And I think that's the goal of the video, is to show you different techniques for masking it, because every single instance is going to be a little bit different. So yeah, let's get to it. So I picked this image from Google because, I don't know, it has a sky and I thought it'd be pretty easy to work with because the pixel count's low. But first thing we're going to do is, once you've loaded your image into Photoshop, we're going to take this background layer and I'm just going to duplicate it. So that's just Command J. Once we've duplicated it, I'm duplicating it so that when I work with this layer, I can compare it to the original just by flickering the visibility of it. Okay, so the first technique we're going to talk about is the paintbrush. And the paintbrush is best for solid colors, right? You're going to only use it really when you're working in a space that's very small and in a space that's generally darker. Because if it's like a dark black, or if it's just black or something like that, you can use a paintbrush and just broad stroke it, and no one's going to be able to tell about shading. And I say this because let's say that, okay, let's test out the technique. So around here you see this blue around the word photography. And what we can do is you can either hold Alt or Option, or use the eyedropper tool, and you can pick the color near it, right? So we pick a sky color near it, and what we do is we take our paintbrush and we color over it, just paint right over it. So when you do that, what you can see is that if you like zoom in a decent amount, you can see like there's a pretty distinct shading difference, and it's because the color in real life is right. It's light based, so you're not going to have a consistent color across. It's going to depend on how much light exposure is. And it's the same reason why the sky is like a gradient. So a paintbrush is probably the least effective tool, but it's important to have because sometimes when you're working in very tight spaces, rather than use some complicated technique, you can probably just get away with a little bit here and there, and you'll probably make it work. So yeah, so that's the first method we use, the paintbrush. The second method we're going to talk about is the spot healing brush, which is my personal favorite. So the spot healing brush, basically all it's going to do is it's going to take the context around which you brush, it's going to take those pixels and then make up an image in the spot you're looking for. So what that means is, okay, let's say we're trying to cover up that same photography piece. Rather than make a consistent color, when I brush over this top portion, it's looking at these pixels around it, and you see, and it's making its own colors. So the advantage to this is if I keep going down the image, rather than get that one solid color that kind of looked bad, we can get a better cutoff, because in this case, it's actually looking at the colors around it and making a better shade, a better gradient, per se. So if I flicker this image, you see that was probably a better chop, because even if you zoom in, really that coloring is not visible. So that's how the spot healing brush works. I mean, you can work with it pretty much anywhere, but I mean, you have to be careful because it depends on what you're working with. I mean, if the context is super like rugged, or like it's changing a lot, like right here, it's probably not going to see, it's not going to work that well, because it's picking off pixels over the nose when you're trying to get an eyebrow, and it just, in detailed positions, it's probably not the best. So after that, next one we're going to talk about would be the clone stamping tool. So the clone stamping tool is the more popular one that people like to show off and use in how to remove watermark videos. But the problem is it only really works well in solid instances or in tiled instances where you have like the floor, which is like a pattern. Because what a clone stamp tool does is it allows you to choose what you're copying, and then it allows you to basically transfer it over. So let's say we're working with hair. I think it should work pretty decently with hair. I'm going to reduce the size of my brush because it's a smaller area to work with. And what I'll do is I'll hit Alt, it's just like the eyedropper tool, and I pick an area that has similar hair to what I'm looking for. So I see that this is a lighter strand, so I'll try over here. Let's see how much success we have. So it samples that area, and then you see how my brush is just hair. So I can just bring it over here and artificially pretend like this is the hair that was originally there. And so obviously you keep cloning and clone the areas nearby so it makes an accurate picture, but you can pretty much get good results if the image is pretty consistent in the patterns that are presented. So as you see, I mean, that's a pretty good job of covering up all that text that was right there, right in the middle of the hair. Of course, the type of hair he has on the top of the head has changed, but it doesn't really matter since no one's even comparing it to the original. So that's how the clone stamp tool works. After that, that's basically the professional ways of doing it, and there's some more hacky ways I'd show you that you can get the job done if necessary. So like, if we're looking at the sky, we see that it's more gradient here, right? Like you couldn't take just one color and just plop it on right there because it's going to look off. So one trick you could actually use that's a little bit more interesting is you could just take like a rectangle and just put it down right there. Obviously, you probably don't want that garbage stroke, and it doesn't matter what color it is. I just make it black so it sticks out. So what we could do is we can make our own gradient, right, to simulate the sky gradient. So we just right-click and go to Blending Options and start a gradient. Okay, so it's a gradient overlay. And so what we would do is we would take the gradient endpoints, the nodes, and we pick the colors that are in the area. So you see over here, it's kind of got a diagonalized going this way. So we're going to pick this color, and then on the other side, we pick the lighter color that's transitioning to. And of course, it doesn't look that good right now, but that's because the angle is off. So what we're going to do, we're going to shift the angle to get that dark color. So the dark color is on the right side now, and I just keep tilting it. And there, that's probably as good as I'm going to get it. I can play with the scale a little bit, try to get it to, that's probably good. And of course, it doesn't look perfect, but what we can actually do is combine it with another technique. So you see we have the rectangle here, that's pretending to be a gradient. And what we can do is, if we control-click it, right-click it, and rasterize that layer, what it's doing is it's flattening into an image. It's not that important, but that's what it's doing. And we click our blur tool. What we can actually do is we can blur the edges of this image. And when you blur the edges of an image, it basically like weakens the contrast. So it's harder to see the edges of the box. And so basically, it blends in better. Now, as you see, it's a lot better blending in. So you can use like multiple of these techniques. So when you're working with the hair, I'd recommend using a clone stamp tool. When you're working in the sky, I would either use the gradient or the spot healing brush, whichever one works better. And you'd work your way across this image, and you could slowly but surely get rid of all the text on it. Thank you.